So the other week we looked at every Premier League club's record signing in order of price, with Huddersfield's Steve Mounier being the cheapest record signing, and Paul Pogba sitting atop of the transfer mountain with his move back to Manchester United costing £89 million. Well, over the next 2 days, we're going to look at every Premier League club's record outgoing player, looking at who has brought in the most money for just one player, ranking the 20 Premier League clubs in order of price. First up, we've got Huddersfield Town, whose record outgoing transfer is Jordan Rhodes to Blackburn for £8 million. The forward was incredibly deadly in League One for the Terriers, scoring 71 league goals across 3 seasons, with 36 coming in his final year as they achieved promotion to the Championship. However, Blackburn came calling in 2012 and Rhodes continued his goal-scoring heroics in the second tier, but his goals didn't propel Blackburn to the Premier League. One of the best goal scorers in the Football League in the past decade, Rhodes was unable to do the business in the Premier League with Middlesbrough. Joint with Huddersfield is Brighton, whose record outgoing transfer is Leonardo Ulloa for £8 million to Leicester. The Argentinian forward had led the line for Brighton in the Championship, but newly promoted Premier League side Leicester swooped in for Ulloa in 2014 as they looked to achieve survival. Ulloa scored 11 goals in the Premier League in his first season and has sadly gone downhill ever since, despite scoring some key goals in the Foxes' title-winning campaign. Next up it's Bournemouth, whose record outgoing transfer is Matt Ritchie for £12 million to Newcastle. The winger was an important player in Bournemouth's surge to the Premier League and their survival, but he would drop back down a division to join relegated Newcastle United for £12 million, taking up the opportunity to play for a bigger club in a lower division. Both sides benefited. Bournemouth survived without Ritchie, while the Scotland international was instrumental in Newcastle's promotion season, scoring 12 goals. Joined 17th is West Brom, whose record outgoing transfer is Saido Berahino to Stoke City for £12 million. This one was an absolute disaster. The forward had been a £20 million target for Tottenham and Newcastle, with Stoke also lodging a £20 million bid for Berahino, but West Brom resisted, eventually only receiving £12 million for the one-away striker. While they could have got more money had they sold him sooner, the Baggies must be laughing all the way to the bank now, because Berahino hasn't even scored a goal since leaving the Hawthorns. Gone are the days when he was England's next great striker. In 16th place is Watford, whose record outgoing transfer is Odion Ighalo for £20 million. Having signed from Udinese initially on loan, Ighalo scored 20 goals in the Championship for the Hornets, linking up with Troy Deeney to help them reach the Premier League. Ighalo continued on the goal trail in the Premier League, scoring 15 goals as Watford survived, but most of the Nigerian strikes came in the first half of the season, enduring a 599-minute goal drought later on. The lure of Chinese football was enough for Ighalo to leave in January 2017, much to the delight of Watford fans, and Ighalo scored 15 goals in 27 games in his first season for Changchun Yatai. In 15th place is Stoke City, whose record outgoing transfer is Marko Arnautovic to West Ham for £20 million. The deal could rise to £25 million with add-ons, which puts Arnautovic ahead of Ighalo, and the Austrian has been a massive flop so far at the London Stadium. Arnautovic is West Ham's record signing but hasn't performed like it, often going missing in games or just being missing altogether, sitting at home due to suspension. Stoke took West Ham to the cleaners on this occasion, with egg very much on the faces of Sullivan and Gold. In joint 13th place is Manchester City, whose record outgoing transfer is Kelechi Iheanacho to Leicester City for £25 million. With all the riches that Man City have, they haven't actually recouped much money on outgoing transfers, with Kelechi Iheanacho's departure the biggest in the club's history. The young Nigerian had been a super sub at the Etihad before Leicester decided to make a move for the striker, and he's yet to get going at the King Power. Obviously Manchester City are very wary of Iheanacho's potential though, inserting a buyback clause into the transfer. In 13th place is West Ham, whose record outgoing transfer is Dimitri Payet for £25 million to Marseille. While Carlos Tevez' move to Manchester City was apparently more than £25 million, I don't think West Ham saw much of the money, with Tevez' advisors instead raking in the cash, so instead we've got Dimitri Payet at £25 million. The Frenchman had been incredible for West Ham and had pundits frighteningly tipping him for the likes of Barcelona, but during the second season with the club, Payet began to twist and sulk, demanding a move away. The West Ham owners cashed in and got almost £15 million profit on the midfielder, and he returned to Marseille as the inconsistent mess he'd been all his career. In joint 11th place is Crystal Palace, whose record outgoing transfer is Yannick Bolasie for £25 million to Everton. In a transfer that could rise to £30 million, Everton went a bit money mad when they first came into a bit of wealth, spending huge dosh on Yannick Bolasie, paying more than over the odds for the Congo winger. While the transfer fee was certainly a head turner, you have to feel sorry for Blassie, who's been out injured since December 2016 and will hopefully be back early in the new year. And to end part 1, in 11th place is Burnley, whose record outgoing transfer is Michael Keane for £25 million to Everton. Also potentially rising to 30 million, Michael Keane is another player who Everton have spent huge money on. A Manchester United youth product, Keane left Old Trafford to join Burnley in 2014, initially on loan, where he would gain the valuable first team experience he craved. A brilliant season in the Premier League last term earned him a massive move to Everton, which hasn't been as good as anticipated, but at least it's keeping him in the England mix. So that's the end of part 1 of every Premier League club's record outgoing transfer. Join us tomorrow for the final 10 clubs. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.